legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
He said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.
All of us coming back. I cannot accept this fade to black, and the thought of the wasted dreams of a nation down on its knees. Is it already over? Tickets to the circus show. If you don't, then you'll never know. Take a stand while you have the time. Drown your fear and keep hope alive. Be the change that you want to see. Be the wrench inside the machine. Is it already over? Is it already over? I don't think it's over.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this special Wednesday night edition of Small Town Underground live stream. Hope everybody out there is doing great. This is the last live stream before the primary election, and as you know, we've been doing our Meet the Candidate segments. Been very, very busy trying to get as many people as we can onto the show that wanted to come on and talk about their candidacy. We've had one heck of a year in Georgia. The legislative session, election, and security, you name it, and of course a big primary coming up. And so when I decided, at first I didn't even want to really do a show. I've been doing so much, and I thought if I could do one Wednesday night show with somebody that before this election, who would it be? And it immediately popped into my head, the Grady boys, right? Because they've never been on the show with me, and we've done a lot of things together, and it's just it was perfect. It made perfect sense, and I sent out a text. I said, guys, can you come on with me? And both of them agreed, and it was just like God saying, hey, you've got the green light. And so I want to welcome Sam Carnline, who is driving tonight. He's coming back from a trip, and he still agreed to come on the show, which we greatly appreciate. And Field Searcy. And both of these gentlemen started Georgians For Truth. We have posted so many things with Georgians For Truth, and we've been down to the Capitol with them and blue ribbon committees, you name it. And I really wanted to talk to them tonight, and really we're going to just share their story. I want to hear their story, how they got started, just like all of us. And believe it or not, folks, this is just a ragtag group of people that I didn't know any of these people, and I decided, hey, there's a bunch of people going down to the Capitol. And I literally just got in my car and drove down to the Capitol by myself and just joined a group that were there. It was all organized by these guys, and there was a bunch of great patriots there, and they were like, film it, do whatever you want. And it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my political life. But it all started with them, and they made me a believer out of paper ballots, you know. So I kind of want to share their story tonight. And so, guys, welcome to the show. We are live, and we will take your comments and questions, especially if you have questions about paper ballots. These are the gentlemen that will be able to answer any and everything about them. The work that they have put into trying to secure our and make our elections transparent there is no measure. You know, we cover voters for Voter Georgia. Obviously, we're all connected. But ask your questions tonight, and we'll get them to these guys. So I want to welcome both y'all to the show. How are you guys?
Glad to be here. I'm doing well.
Thank you, Roy. Appreciate the intro.
Yeah, I think, Sam, we'll start with you and just kind of, introduce yourself to our audiences and once we do that, Field, I'm going to introduce you, and whoever wants to take over, I want to hear the story of how you guys got started, okay?
Well, thank you. We're honored to be on Small Town Underground, and as I stated earlier, I'm wearing my outlaw shirt tonight because I think we are considered outlaws in our state when it comes to people who are not so into trying to change our elections and so forth. But you asked how we got started, and I'm going to be as brief as I can with it. So after 20, it was put on my spirit that there was no question that we had issues, and so I got to digging, and I didn't know anything about it. I hate politics. I just do. I think it's a dirty, nasty, backstabbing game, and I don't like politics. But at any rate, I felt like I had to get involved. I couldn't just let what had happened happen without giving it some effort. So I got with some local friends, and we drove up to Atlanta, and the first person I talked to legislative-wise was Barry Fleming. Mm-hmm. And Barry Fleming, was a representative at the time. He's now a judge appointed by Governor Kemp because he did such a great job and shielding the people the people in the Gold Dome from us people who just weren't gonna sit down, shut up, and have a good time. But I had read the 15-page document that then Senator William Ligon put out of the testimony, and then I went and listened to all 10 hours of testimony where people like Susie Voles came in and testified, and others that, what they witnessed was just not right. Right. And so on the bottom of page 12, and I'm paraphrasing, it said, and Ligon's given this quote, then Senator William Ligon, the 2020 Georgia election was so fraught with systemic irregularities and voter fraud that it should not be certified. But when I read that, what else is there? Right. And we certified it anyway. And that's right. And so anyway, Barry Fleming patted us on the head, told us they had it under control. They knew what had happened, and they were going to fix it, and for me to go back home and get behind my next candidate. And I said, okay. And then the closer I drove back to Cairo from Atlanta, the madder I got about being patronized by Barry Fleming. Right. And so then I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do something about it locally. So I went and got a book, the Title 21 election laws, and I started getting familiar with what election laws were, and I came to section 334 where it said if it's impracticable to vote on the electronic voting machines, then we can go to hand marked paper ballots, which is the backup system,
Right.
which is exactly what we've been talking about the whole time. I went to my county. I had about 100 people there, and I had it recorded. A guy from Thomas County, who's a friend of my sister, came over and recorded the thing. And then Phil Searcy, whom I know his family well for decades, but I'd never met Phil, caught that recording of me speaking to the county commissioners, asking them to support our then election superintendent, who was the judge. We didn't have an election board at that time. I'm now on the Grady election board. But anyway, I asked them to go to the hand marked paper ballots because it couldn't be secure. And a dear friend, Arlene Spooner, who I knew from church, and she and I had been talking, and she agreed that we couldn't trust the election system. She went to the commission meeting, and we both presented that night. And I think we came close to getting them to at least consider it, but our county attorney kind of squashed it, and we wound up not going there. But I'll let Phil take it from there, because that's kind of how we got introduced.
All right. Field?
Yeah, so I don't know how it was. I used to live in Atlanta. I was fairly involved with the Republican Party for a number of years, since 2010 time frame, and I was part of the Tea Party. I was one of the co-founders of the Georgia Tea Party. And I had lived in Atlanta quite a while. I was ready to get back to something quieter and moved back to South Georgia, and thought I'd kind of gotten away from all of this. And somehow I happened to see this video, and I think it was Professor David Clements had shared this video, and I saw it. And I said, I got to go meet that guy. I got to go find that guy. He's in Grady County. He's where I live. This is where I grew up.
Right.
And so I found his number. I called it up, and a woman answered. And come to find out it was his daughter. He said, well, you're talking about my dad. Here's how you get a hold of him. And so he's at Stalin's Motors in Grady, in Cairo, Georgia. So we met. I came to Cape Town. We just had we hit it off great. And we started working. Actually, we're working with Paul Nally.
Oh, yes.
He had to do something for the grand jury this was 2022, before the midterm in 22.
Wow.
And I worked back and forth with Paul Nally on some petitions that we might send to the grand jury and stuff. And we worked with some Arlene and her family, her husband, and others. And I think about, of course, that election came and gone. It wasn't a lot of time to do anything. And then about what Sam didn't tell you is that of those 100 people that went to that Grady County Commissioner meeting, Sam had printed up a piece of paper. He had his staff print up this piece of paper on just plain old letterhead, paper please. That's all it said in big bold letters. And he had all 100 people had those paper please. And that was that's where paper please started, with Sam at the Grady County Board of Commissioners meeting in 2022.
Wow.
And so we took that concept, and a group of election integrity people got together in Atlanta in March of 23. We had an all-day roundtable session going through all the different ideas. Sam had already made T-shirts. He'd already made signs with paper ballot please, paper please signs, and it became a kind of a big hit. And from there, we started getting engaged. We started learning about the different hand count methodologies, and we put together the hand count roadshow. And I think the first big effort we did, we went over to St. Simon's Island in the summer of 23. The House of Representatives had a workshop over there for all the representatives, a retreat. And I said, we were crossing over the bridge to Brunswick. And I said, you know what, Sam, we ought to just call and see if we can get us a room at the King and Prince. We'll get a room, we'll set up our stuff there, and we'll be able to invite the legislators to come in and take a look at our hand count, how we would do it. So I called up the king and prince and says, well, let me get back to you. And so in a few minutes.
By that time, we had the war wagon put together, and that thing. If you've ever seen it, it's a rolling billboard. We've had a lot of fun with that thing. But anyway, go ahead, Phil, about the king and prince.
So I got a call from Sally Grubbs, because I used to live in Cobb County. Phil, what have y'all done? So we just asked for a room at the King and Prince where the legislator is going to be. We want to set up a display there. And
That's great.
We've not been bashful, Joy. We've not been bashful.
So we got a call back from King and Prince, and they said, well, there's not any room or whatever. So we decided we were going to set up, there's a county park right next to the King and Prince there on St. Simon's Island.
Mm-hmm.
So that next day, we said we're going to set up there, and we got out on the beachfront with a tent and a generator and our TV and our overhead cameras and our whole hand count roadshow. We had this big sign that says paper ballots was pointing right at the King and Prince Hotel. There's no way that they couldn't see what we were doing.
Right.
And but as we were coming in that Friday night, we came into the entrance of King and Prince Hotel with this paper please wagon, made the turn, and here comes this whole line of black SUVs coming out of there.
Mm.
Well, it was Governor.
They had to wait on us.
We had a broadside view of paper please, and that was like.
And who was in the limos? Who was there? Who was it?
It was Kemp and his entourage. They probably did like an introduction to the legislators and so forth and whatever. So anyway, it was kind of like everything we've done, Roy, God has been involved. Mm-hmm. He's put his hand on it because we turned it over to him. We're going to give him the glory for it. But he's opened the doors for us. We've had opportunities that we never would have had.
Right.
And so that was like the real big thing was that. And then the next big thing was the fish frying Perry.
That's right.
Where we reserved a table. Garland Favorito and Voter GA had a table. We were going there and we were going to just talk to people.
That's
share
it.
what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Republican GOP meeting. Sam was on the state committee. And we got a call the night before says, don't go.
Mm.
It's not good. You shouldn't go. Well, you don't tell Sam Carnline and Phil Searcy not to go do something.
Right. Right.
But so we went anyway, and that morning we prayed on the way there. It's like we're going to do what God's will is. We're going to stand for truth. And we got there, and we were met at the door. We'd already paid for our ticket. It says you can't come in here.
Mm.
Why not? Well, hold on just a moment. Let me get some of the people in authority here.
Mm.
And so we had the chair of the 8th district came over and says, we can't let you come in with your shirts. Governor Kemp's going to be here today. We just cannot have it. You with these shirts, paper please. We were wearing paper please shirts, Georgians For Truth, Voter GA shirts, even a guy in a wheelchair wearing a Voter GA shirt. And we were all turned away. So we had 3 choices. You can either get your money back, you can change your shirt, or we're just going to arrest you.
Oh my God.
And that video, well, we got videos of that. And we decided, the better part of valor here is to step outside, and we talked about it. We said, let's just go ahead and change your shirt. Let's go ahead and meet people and all that. And we did that. We put on our America First shirt, went in, and that's when we had the opportunity that we got Governor Kemp on video.
Yeah.
And Sam asked him the question, and I'll let Sam say the question and have the response.
Yeah, well, I remember that morning before we left. I was on my knees by the bed, and I said, Lord, if I get an opportunity to speak to anybody, let me have the right words. Let me ask the right questions and let them hear what I'm saying. So we kind of ran into the governor and his wife and daughter there in the mix of all those people, and we had on a flag T-shirt. We had some more T-shirts in the van, and we went out and changed to these flag T-shirts. Now, if we'd had on a paper please shirt, he wouldn't have come within a mile of us.
Sure.
But Kemp didn't know me from a sack of potatoes at the time. But I just asked him about the voting machines and what was he aware that they were hackable. And he said, if you give anybody a voting machine, they can hack them.
That's right, he did.
And it startled me. And I said, what did you say? And he said, if you give anybody a voting machine, they can hack them. And Field had it, all of it on video.
Yes.
And I mean, I remember slapping my hands and saying, what did you just say? And he said, if you give anybody a voting machine, they can hack them. And that one clip got seen last week, had count of like 1.4 million times on X.
Yes.
And so, that kind of gave us some momentum with the people, and we started having people, sign up for Georgians for Truth and agree to go to these things that basically Field put together. I can't take credit for that. I tell everybody I'm the brawn and he's the brain. So, he puts all this stuff together, and I just kind of tag along.
Yeah.
Well, don't sell yourself short. But anyway, from there we started going to the state election board meetings, and the first one we went to was in August of 23, and I believe we got like 350 people there in the room.
That's amazing.
There were 150 people that got up to speak, unheard of in a state election board. These things are not attended by the people, period. Okay. And we set a new trend to go to these state election board meetings. And there's some fantastic clips from that meeting. And one of the famous ones is Linda Mink. And she got on the chairman about the prayer he said to every deity available. And she got on him about that. And she says,
that's right.
And he tried to shut her down. And he says, no, this is my time to speak. And let me tell you something. I've learned a lot today, and everybody knows that Kemp and Carr and Raffensperger are crooked as a dog's hind leg, and that clip right there just went viral, crazy like. I mean, and there were so many other good comments that meeting. It's like, and it wasn't but 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, Duffy was the chair. He was gone. And then we went to another meeting not after that one, where one of the election board members was had a conflict of interest with taking money from counties. There were 50 people that spoke to call for his resignation, and he was gone.
Wow.
So when the people get involved, you can make a difference.
Yes.
That's what we need, Roy, is we need people involved and engaged in what we're doing. And stand up for what's right. Stand up for what's true. Stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about, going to these meetings. And we've gone to almost every SCD meeting since 2023. We've been to almost every one of them, either one of us or the other, when we could be there. And we tried to get there quite a few of the Blue Ribbon Committee meetings. But I don't know. I'll let Sam talk some more. I've talked a lot right there. But anyway, he can tell you the next bit of it.
Take it away, Sam.
Well, so and we've kind of evolved, into what we are, and we have tried to, feel like we're led. We do know the truth. We all know the truth.
Right.
I'm sick of the mainstream media, Roy, not putting a spotlight on the facts.
Right.
The last couple of days, we're starting to see some things. I think I read today where one of the major networks had heard somebody out of Trump's office, a woman, I can't call her name, But at any rate, she was saying that, in Georgia, we know that Trump did not lose Georgia, and the truth is coming out. Well, it just can't come out fast enough.
Right.
But unless we, Boyd Parks, I love what Boyd Park, he told me way early on, might have been that 300 meeting that we went to. He said, not investigating the 20 election because it's already over is like not investigating a murder because the victim is already dead.
That's correct.
And then how true is that?
Very.
And people like yourself, thank you so much for continuing to hammer and being there and putting these clips out and continuing to keep this thing, under the magnifying glass. And I'm so thankful for the people we got on the state election board now. Beforehand, it was all, covered up, smothered and covered. We still got some smothered and covered for sure.
The Waffle Man.
But that's right. But without a doubt, now people are getting aware of, just how wrong that the system we're using is.
Right.
And now here most recently, Field and some other people have taken 7 counties and done a study.
That's right.
And that study is showing that not only, was the 2020 election stolen, the 2024 election is not within the guidelines of what the EAC allows. And Field, you should take that part.
Yeah, tell us about that.
That's been our most recent work, is the 7 county slog file study.
The slog file.
And we got the slog file is the log from the tabulators. It records all the transactions. You boot it up, it runs through its diagnostics, it gets ready to go, it records every scan that goes through. It doesn't record the votes, as far as, like, the log doesn't show the vote of how you voted. It just shows you scanned the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
The ballot was picked out. The ballot was rescanned, whatever. And this is the proprietary part of the Dominion system. It's the big black box, the trash can, the ICP tabulator, and the ICC tabulator that's at the central office where they scan the absentee ballots. That's where all the proprietary Dominion code is located.
Right.
And this code is what's throwing these errors. And we've had errors, just out of the 7 counties, and there's small counties and large counties. And we looked at 7 or 5 different error strings. QR code signature mismatch. Image scan could not find QR code on ballot. Ballot format ID is unrecognizable. Ballot's size exceeds maximum expected ballot size. Scanner transport error. Out of all those, in all those 7 counties, there were, out of 872,000 ballots cast, there were 716,794 errors.
Wow.
That's almost 1 per ballot.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
And then we looked at the misfeed rate, and that's when a lot of people are going to be familiar with this. They go to the VMD, the touch screen, they print out their ballot, and they walk over to the tabulator trash can, and they put the ballot in, and it spits it back out to them. Says, put it, and the poller says, "Well, just put it in again." And they put it in again, and it spits it out again. And they put it in again, and finally accepts it.
Right.
Those are considered as misfeeds by the Election Assistance Commission, by the statutes that the voluntary voting system guidelines that they have. You can have no more than 1 misfeed in 500 ballots. 1 in 500. Well, out of those 872,000 ballots, they had 299,000 misfeeds.
You've got to be kidding me. 299,000.
Yeah, almost 30%.
Wow.
And the standard is 1 in 500. The average was 135 times the standard.
What?
This is the EAC standard.
That,
On the error count, our average is 107,000 times the allowable error rate, 1 in 10 million ballot positions.
man.
And so we're not making a claim that this flipped any votes or anything. We don't know.
Sure.
We don't really know what these errors are meaning because they're not in the manual.
Right.
And nobody's explained them. And the QR code signature mismatch error, that error was found in Tennessee in Williamson County, and the Secretary of State recommended removal of the many machines because of it.
Right.
So we want answers.
Absolutely.
We want a real investigation into this. And we've actually looked at 3 more counties since those 7, and it's the same pattern. Same pattern across 10 counties. Every county has a problem, and we don't know how these machines got approved by the EAC when you have this kind of error rate that's so far outside of the boundaries and guidelines of what the EAC says they should be.
Right.
How do they get approved?
Agreed.
And just like the Tennessee Secretary of State, I can't read you chapter and verse, but I promise you Richard Schroeder can. It says that if the Secretary of State finds errors like that, he's supposed to discontinue use immediately.
Immediately.
So we got problems in Georgia.
Yeah, it's a violation, just to be clear, it's a violation of 52 USC 21081, Section 5. It's a violation of the Georgia Constitution under Article 2, Section 1, Paragraph 1, method of voting. Elections shall be by the people by secret ballot and shall be conducted in accordance with procedures provided by law. On our federal elections every 2 years, we have to follow the HAVA law, which is 52 USC. We have to follow that. And then it violates 21.2.374 Georgia Code. The ballot scanner can not be approved unless it produces an errorless count. If an error is detected, the cause therefore shall be ascertained and corrected, and an errorless count shall be made before the ballot scanner is approved.
Man. What I want to play devil's advocate here for a minute, because what I've heard is that Fox News says that Georgia has the safest, most transparent, secure elections in the United States. Do you agree with that statement?
Negative.
Okay.
And
Wow.
and but I will tell you this though, Roy, what we found when we first started, I told you I bought the Code 21 book.
Yes.
Well, I don't know that thing chapter and verse, but I know enough. I know more about it than most legislators do.
Yeah.
And we're finding that they're ignorant to just what we got.
Yes.
And we're getting them educated. The most of the time when we've had any success in this thing, it's been where we got Raffensperger on tape and he ran from us when we were trying to ask him some hard questions. Where we got the governor on tape stating if you give anybody a voting machine, they can hack it.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like the last thing that we had that really got us anywhere was where, and again, Richard Schroeder and I don't know who all found this. I think maybe Sarah Thompson might have been involved in finding that the tabulator tapes were being signed signature that we were under the law of Canada, not under the law of the United States. And when we took that down to the Capitol and we showed just a few senators and representatives that we were signing tabulator tapes, and by the way, Gabe Sterling said, it don't matter. And old Phil says, well, it matters to us.
That's right.
But I can tell you, post haste, that got fixed. And so unfortunate we have to embarrass these people to get them to make a move.
Right. So yeah, wow, what a freaking story. Now, so many ways that I could go about this. So I want you to know that before I ever even met you guys, when I wasn't ever planning on getting into any kind of election integrity. I was already like 2022 is rotten. I'm not even voting anymore. This is crazy. And as I was getting into this, I heard about this Perry fish fry, and of course we were all watching. Before I even knew who you guys were, we were cutting this stuff out and just shooting it out everywhere because it was blowing us away. That they were threatening to arrest you guys, that they were wouldn't let you in after a table, and then to hear the governor say that admit that yes, these things can be hacked, right? But my Lord, and so being down at the Capitol with you guys, and especially not knowing a whole lot about what's going on, or even paper ballots at that time, just fix the election systems, and then to talk to these legislators, and they would just kind of either laugh at you and be like, "We don't have time for this," or they genuinely have no clue what we're talking about, right? And I even remember being with Stacey Doran, and I think it was the Representative Ridley stopped her mid, this presentation, said, well, who's funding you guys? And I had the camera rolling, and she's like, "What do you mean who's funding us?" Yeah, so who's paying for all your stuff? Who's paying for all your signs? And who's funding? What group is funding you? And she's like, "Nobody." And I was sitting there like blown away, and I even piped up. I said, "Hey man, I don't even know these people. I just came down here with my camera, and I wanted to help." And they didn't believe that. They think that that we're lobby groups, that people are paying. They have no clue that you guys, your story and how you met, how you've just been doing all these things. And throughout these years, we've uncovered so much. You brought up how the Trump administration, how Tulsi Gabbard, how all these investigations now, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that 2020 election was stolen. Georgia was one of the linchpin states, right? It was ground zero. We know this. Fulton County is the wild, wild west. Apparently, they've got more power and can do whatever they want than anybody in the country. So I don't even know where to go with this, but it's been an amazing journey to watch all of these people come together and show them something as simple as, hey, these tabulator tapes are under Canadian law. Like, how do we deal with a state that just continues to ignore the law, and we use these systems when other states around us have already gotten rid of these things, right? Like, I don't even know if you guys can answer that, but just what kind of state are we living in where we can't? We've got so much at stake here, and we've pushed so hard, but they continue to just deny and ignore. What's your thoughts on that?
70% of the U.S. vote on a hand-marked paper ballot. Florida votes on a hand-marked paper ballot. Alabama, Montana, Idaho, Indiana. There's so many states that vote on a hand-marked paper ballot. Who's in the national and world spotlight? Georgia, not Florida. Florida's got counties just as big as Fulton County, Dade County, Orange County, Pinellas County. Those counties are huge, and they vote on a hand-marked paper ballot. And they're not having the problems that we're having in Georgia.
Right.
All right, we just got a little bit of, Senate Bill 189. July the 1st, you can't vote with the QR code anymore as the way to tabulate your vote.
Right.
Well, that's a win. But now we're in danger of our, I'm calling him Huey P. Long -Kemp. He rules this state with an iron hand, and
yeah.
And now I'm afraid to be straight up with you. I noticed yesterday where you were talking about, where Colton Moore, he got his bill passed, and then the governor slams it down,
vetoes.
And so, we're at that place right now.
Right.
I don't know which way to go, but I have my thoughts on it.
But here's the thing. It's just not. It's not the QR code on the BMD printed ballot is not just becoming illegal on July 1st, 2026. It's been illegal since it was installed. In fact, in October of 2020, Judge Amy Totenberg, U.S. federal court judge, said it violated Georgia law.
That's right.
And the Dominion system had just been installed, and it violated the law then. And guess what? The Dominion system replaced the Depot system that was replaced because it violated law, and it was in violation since 2002.
That's right.
We've been having unconstitutional elections for 24 years.
Yeah.
24 years we've had unconstitutional, basically illegal elections in the state of Georgia.
Mm-hmm. You're 100% right, and that's one reason I wanted. Again, we don't have to really discuss. We know now that our governor has called for a special session. I believe is June 17th, and to touch base on the QR codes. The QR codes. This was voted in 2024. Obviously, the Secretary of State has used the narrative that they didn't give us money to fix these systems. Anyway, the state has let this thing go on until the very last moment. I was awake and watching sine die, hoping and praying they would bring that bill back in, which they did not, of course. And now here we are, and they're talking about special session. We're going to look at the redistricting. Oh yeah, and we're gonna do this QR code thing. So I have my thoughts on that as well, and we can delve into that. But here's the deal. I think you said it. We have been under an unconstitutional election system, even compared to our election law in this state, since its inception. And the people have been begging and pleading and doing everything they can to get to paper ballots, right? And we'll go into that in a second, because a lot of people still have questions about it. But it's like, I still don't understand how, like, we can even do this. We're even allowed to do this. The Secretary of State, the governor, are even allowed to get away with continuing this system that we have. And we know it. Every election cycle, we have issues with it. Now, I want to stress to people, too, that, paper ballots is a universal accountability and transparency system of doing paper ballots. It's not perfect. And I don't think any of us are trying to say this is perfect, but this frees the vote for everyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent alike, And so I want to kind of go into that. So we have people with questions. So explain what we mean when you talk about paper ballots, okay?
Okay, so what the legislators will tell you, we have paper ballot today.
Right.
I consider that a paper ballot receipt. Every one of them looks just exactly like the other one. If you went in and did a forensic audit, you couldn't tell if that ballot was made legitimately or illegitimately.
Right.
If you go to do a hand-marked paper ballot, that's where one person has one pencil, and he or she squiggles in their selections into like a test at school. You bubble in the selection. And by the way, Roy, you and I would probably vote the same ballot, always right straight down the line. But I don't squiggle like you squiggle, and you don't squiggle like I squiggle. So if we do have to go back in and actually verify that it is, a genuinely hand-marked paper ballot instead of something somebody ran through a good copy machine,
Right.
You can tell it.
Exactly.
And that we don't have today. So it's just not verifiable. The only way to get verifiable is to go to the hand-marked paper ballot, too.
Yeah, and let's add on to that. So the paper ballot receipt we get right now is printed out from a printer, and the ballot marking device is what the voter sees. They go and they touch screen what their vote is, and it prints the piece of paper out, and the touch screen clears out. There's no more information on the touch screen. And they have this receipt, and most people do not read it. And if they did, it only has the candidate they selected, and it only has a yes or no on the questions. You don't know what the questions are. Their intent was on that screen. What they saw on the screen was a voter intent. This ballot marking receipt, printed out paper ballot, you've lost their intent. You can never go back and really know what they saw. Nobody can prove what they saw.
Right.
Some of the people that do read it, some of them maybe call it out, this is not right, but the majority of people spend less than a half a minute looking at it, and they scan it. And so the voter intent is lost, and that's the key principle, voter intent. What did the voter intend?
Right.
Now, you can say it was their fault, they didn't read it closely, but why should the voter have to be put through that challenge? Okay? If they mark it squiggle like Sam said, their intent is clear. Now, some people are going to mark two in the same slot. That happens.
Mm-hmm.
But the other key point about it is, with the paper ballot, it's not so much it's just paper ballot, but that we do a hand count at the precinct and decentralize the process.
Exactly. That's
because
yes.
It gets back closer to the people, your neighbors, your friends. They're the ones running the polls.
Right.
They're in your precinct. You know them. They know you, and they're going to do the count. And you can be there and watch it. We ought to video record it.
Yep. I think,
and we decentralize it. And so now it's hard to cheat at scale when you decentralize. But when you centralize everything, when you centralize the collection of the data, the collection of the votes, and you remove the people away and you outsource it to technology, you outsource it to corporations, and now it's disconnected from the people, we lose our sovereignty. We lose control. The people lose control over the vote, and we've given away our sovereignty by doing that. And now cheat can happen at scale, and you can't uncover it without a great deal of detail, a great deal of effort. Cheating is going to happen no matter what. People are going to cheat, but when you decentralize, you reduce that chance of it doing it at scale. And the paper ballots is only one aspect of it. The voting machines, the other aspect of it is the voter rolls.
Right.
It's not that they're just not clean. They're being manipulated behind the scenes, and you can clean them all you want. And you can ask Kim Brooks, you can ask Mark Davis, and you can ask other people who have looked into this. And Dr. Corsi, this Dr. Paquette up in New York that's found the algorithms in the voter rolls. That's what feeds the voting in the first place. Mm-hmm. And if you can manipulate that at scale behind the scenes, you can do all kinds of things.
Right.
That's why it needs to be decentralized and brought back to the people, back to the counties. Listen, the whole country of Taiwan, 24 million people, they have 1 day voting.
That's right.
And they have paper ballots, and they do hand counting at the
Yes.
If they can do it, and they're very technologically advanced, by the way.
That's right.
They make all of our semiconductor chips, or most of them, okay? You know why they do it that way? They're afraid of foreign influence from China.
That's right.
We got foreign influence in our elections in this state of Georgia right now, through our machines, through our voting records, and everything. So those are the two major problems. And the third major problem, I don't keep harping on these three things, because this is the three-legged stool. We don't enforce our existing voter laws right now.
That's right.
We've got counties that violate the law, and the laws are too complicated to even follow. There's 40 to 50 data points that have to be collected from the start of LNA testing with these machines to the close of the polls. There's 40 or 50 data points that have to be collected by each poll worker at the precinct, all the way up. I promise you, they are not collecting all this data. And so our friend up in Rome, Georgia, Mark Sweet has proved this, of Rome County.
Yes.
And we know it's endemic across the whole state, that it's too complicated. There's too many points of failure in the system.
Yes. We
have to decentralize. Harry Hari of United for Americans said it best. I never heard it said any better. You don't trust me, and I don't trust you, but we have to trust the process. And this process we have today is defective.
Yes.
The whole election code needs to be completely rewritten.
Yes. Have you gentlemen ever seen the documentary Kill Chain?
Yes.
See, I watched that documentary on my own. I had heard of it years ago, and used to, if you even mention the word kill chain, like I got a community strike just for mentioning it in a YouTube video. I got stricken. Now we can say this, but this was the one big, I guess what you want to call it, the lines, the uniparty. This is like the Democrats' big documentary into the debold systems and all of these election systems, and they take them and hack them and all this. And of course, after the 2020 election, they tried to bury that thing. They tried to pull it back and just get rid of it as the tide was turning. And I ask people all the time when they talk, I said, if you've ever watched that kill chain, that's really all you need to understand to see where we're at today. You know, this has been going on for a long time. And it also seems like rather than what you've just laid out here, and I want to add to it is because, you know, with paper ballots, you also have an accountability trail, a physical accountability trail that you can go back. If there's questions, you can go back and you can look. You can physically touch it. When it's electronic, you can't even see half this stuff because it's proprietary. But, you know, when you're dealing now, what we're talking about, it's very well, you know, established that we want paper ballots, all these other states around us. But we have the government, a state government now that in part of this QR code bill that they've changed, well, they're wanting to update, and when the contract runs out, they want to go to another electronic voting system. You've had ESS and other systems that, you know, went to the Capitol and set up all their machines. You had your county election boards that had to go to their training seminars, where Gavrio is pretty much in charge, like their teachers, explaining to them how they work. And then you have all of these election companies like the former Dominion, now Liberty voting systems there, you know, giving out stuff. And I mean, it's like a clown show here. We want away from all of that. We want to go back to paper ballots. What are your thoughts on how our state government is handling this?
They're not. They're avoiding.
They are.
I mean, seriously, they've avoided addressing it, and I'm comfortable that they'll continue to kick the can down the road until, I don't know, we get 10,000 people down around the Capitol building with proper attire and instruments to get their attention.
Hey, it's just the truth, man. I know. And I think, and I hope, we pray, right? My hopium is running low, but here we are now, less than a week away from a primary that's going to determine the next, you know, the direction that Georgia's going in, right? We have a swath of candidates, and we're all trying to get educated and figure out who could possibly be the best to move forward. And some of these people are the same people that's been ignoring this for years. You know, God forbid that we Georgia chooses that direction. But I guess, are you hopeful for the future? I mean, obviously we've got to have more people, but how do you think that this is going to go this summer? Like, do you think that we're going to go to some paper ballots for November? What are either one of y'all's thoughts on that?
My hopium is that we will have the emergency backup system that, you know, I was preaching back to Grady County back in the fall of 22. But, you know, when I see it written on Kemp's letter to the legislators, he might as well have just typed in there the rest of it, in my opinion. But I don't know, Phil, what do you think?
I don't think our state's going to deal with it. I don't think we're going to deal with it properly at a state level. I think they're going to kick the can down the road, and they're going to buy another system.
Yeah.
Unless more exposure comes from the FBI raid of the Fulton election ballots and the collection of that, the foreign influence that's been exposed by Wilson Gabbard, who's the Director of National Intelligence, and Proved there was foreign influence, that our election was compromised, and it cannot be used. I think without that right now, we're going to be using what we've got in place for November, and they're going to kick the can down the road, and they're going to buy another system.
Yeah.
That's how I believe they're going to operate under the current legislative system and executive leadership.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I see too many, like even with Fulton County, it's kind of a no-brainer, everything that has transpired in the last few months, but yet we get these little cookie crumbs, almost as if the same thing with was it the curling case where it was the timing was very suspicious on how long it took to get rulings and how this thing is dragging out, and I'm highly suspicious now of finally calling a special session. I'm very concerned about what is going to become of the QR codes, and we have to remember in that bill they drastically changed that bill to basically give the Secretary of State full authority to pick the next election. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in there that I guess we have to go through. But I do want to say that I know you guys are not going to give up, and I'm certainly not going anywhere. And I hope, like Sam said, that we get thousands of people that will take up, this fight, join into the ranks. So because the numbers, what you guys have done, along with Voter Georgia and everybody you've mentioned, so many people. If it wasn't for you guys doing what you're doing, we wouldn't be anywhere near, the progress that we've made in this state. And I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys. Because again, I had to be sold on paper ballots. I didn't really understand paper ballots. I was like, well, this is what Stacey Abrams wanted. But no, I get it. And it's a shame that we don't have other parties and other people that join into this, and unify over this one thing, because it is the most transparent, the most accountable, the safest that we can get. But again, it's been such an uphill battle with so many. I mean, they're not even hiding it any longer. So I guess we'll see how it goes. Go ahead.
Well, Roy, three years ago, they wouldn't talk to us.
That's right.
They really literally would not talk to us.
Yeah.
They all had the same canned speech. That the way that the problems are with the system is due to paper ballots, not the way they've manipulated the system. Wasn't because of electronics; it was because of the paper ballot part of the system, the absentee, like that. Well, now there's proof out there that that's not just so. Joe Rossi and Kevin Moncla and so forth have proven. And then we've got I can't remember the guy's name that actually proved at the Curling versus Raffensperger that you can within 10 seconds he's got the machine going from unplugged to it flipping votes inside the machine.
That's right, with a pen.
So, and with a pen, right, with a big pen like you write with, and so there's so many things that we know now that we didn't know when we started this out. But here's the thing. How many times does somebody like Kemp and Company run us out of gas till we just get so tired? We're fighting an uphill battle. We're not having any wins, and that's where we are today. Am I tired? You bet your sweet bippy, I'm tired of it. I'd love to go back to work and start making a living again. And I do. We both have jobs and we have to work. But, am I giving up? No. And what we're praying for is the Lord's direction, and we appreciate your prayers out there in your field of people that listen to this thing, Roy. We thank you for putting us out there. We covet your prayers. where is the next place that we go to? Well, we know we got the problem. We know it's a fact. It's being shown the light on. I'm really hopeful that the feds with this Fulton County deal is going to shine some real light on it, and not just for Georgia, but for the world. And I think that'll bring some heat down on us. But that's where I'm at. But we need those 10,000 people instead of the 300 that we have go frequently.
We need to give them a great deal of praise too for those that have.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much, people, for hanging in there.
Such good people.
For us. Sarah Burchart, that she prays for us. A lot of people pray for us. And we got to give God credit for whatever good happens.
Amen.
He has actually opened doors so many times. And so many times he opened doors for us at the convention. We were trying to do paper ballots there, even though it didn't happen, but a lot was revealed.
Yeah.
But we don't know God's timing and everything. So we thank you, Roy, for going to our press conferences, for videoing those, for sharing those clips, and for all the people listening, and for all the people that make the effort to go to the Blue Ribbon Committees, the State Election Board, and all these events we go to. We thank you for that, because we wouldn't be able to do it without those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to try not to single anybody out, but I'm going to tell you, I just want to talk how much Richard and Arlene Schroeder, I mean, just the most precious people that have been there from the beginning. There's so many good people that I've met. I mean, some of the best people I've ever met, hands down, are a part of this movement and are giving their time and their treasure and their energy to this fight. And I tell you, I'm going to make a commitment now that we get the biggest showing this next January that we could ever possibly get. I want to be an integral part in getting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people down there in the Capitol, overwhelming them, because we're not going to give up. And you guys are amazing. The story's been amazing. I mean, we're gonna go ahead and go to comments, because I know we're already at an hour, but I want to make sure that we get anything from there, especially if anybody has any questions, and then we'll finish up. But David Smith, good to see you tonight. He says, there are no finer patriots in Georgia than Salmon Field. It's the responsibility of patriots throughout the state to keep the pressure on and continuing the hammer, fight. I totally agree with that. Christina Benjamin, thank you for being here with us. What an amazing person Christina is. I've learned so much from Christina, and hopefully I can get Christina to get on some panel shows with us in the summer. But thank you.
Wonderful patriot.
James Coles, hey, he's one of the he's on one of his the county election boards. Amazing person who has been down at the SCV meetings and been fighting. Thank you for being here. He says you guys are true patriots. And let's see here. Derek Daniel. We're not talking about APAC tonight, Derek, but there's some stuff planned. So thank you for that, Derek. Thomas White, good to see you. He says he's got a question. He says, what if Kemp's calling a special session not for redistricting for 28, but to make a change to the QR code issue and something else? He could do the 2028 district change in regular session. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to answer. I personally think it's going to go like this, and I don't have a problem saying it because I'm going to say it Friday with BKP. I think that this is a perfect opportunity for our governor to use this redistricting in order to leverage it so that they can push the QR codes back a year or two. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that they're gonna focus on redistricting and paint this narrative, and they're gonna say, and when our legislator gets out of session, they're gonna say, guys, we fought like crazy, we tried, but guess what? The QR codes are gonna be extended. There's nothing we can do about it. That's what I feel. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that, but that's how I feel it's gonna go. So,
I agree.
Any comments
Senate
on that?
Bill 221 gives the governor. Senate Bill 221 has given the leverage he needs to he's got to be on
All right, Sam, I'm sorry we're losing you there. I don't know what happened, but you started getting digital. If you can hear me.
He's talking about Senate Bill 221.
Yes, I can.
And gave the authority to the governor and the leadership to create these leadership packs where they can receive unlimited funds, even from foreign companies and stuff.
Yes.
And so that's been a big problem because now they've actually created themselves an oligarchy with
That's
that.
right. That's right.
And they can fund candidates that are going to oppose those that want to stand up to the governor, to stand up to his budget. They can fight against those with this funds. It's a big problem. The 221 needs to go.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think we got you back now, Sam, if you want to continue.
Well, field covered. That's exactly what I was saying.
Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, in this special session, what he's laid out is the only things that they will be discussing, right? They can't even bring up Senate Bill 221. And obviously that's a huge problem. And we are definitely bringing it up with these candidates. I mean, we've had several candidates speak out about how they should not be able to raise money while they're in session. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. But, okay. Well, I guess we're going to see. We're all going to be watching this special session now. I guess place your bets. I don't know how it's going to go, but that's just me talking. That's how I think it's going to go. Antonio Jones says, hello, Grady boys. Good to have you. He had an awesome show today on War Room, Georgia. Yeah. So, City Mouse, thank you for being with us. Says, so if the tabulator spits out your ballot receipt when we go to vote next week, what should we say or do? Has our vote been messed up? So what happens if it's a misfeed or it doesn't take their receipt? What should they do?
Make a report. Get the election superintendent and make a report of it.
All right. You heard it. Get a report. If you have anything that goes wrong with your ballot at all, and it misfeeds or something goes wrong, immediately make a report with the election supervisor. Get it on paper that there's a report so it can be filed. Absolutely correct. Sandra Smith Bearden, good to see you. She says pine trees make paper ballots. Absolutely. Oh, that's great. Oh, Beth Mercure. Hang on, Sam. Try it again. Same.
I appreciate that. Take a lot of
Darn. Translate that for us, Field.
So we're from Grady County, where you grow cotton, peanuts, and pine trees.
Yes.
You can make a lot of paper ballots out of the pine trees grown in Grady County.
I love it. Wow. Beth Mercure is here with us tonight in the comments. Beth is absolutely amazing. The Truth Seekers from Cherokee. Thank you for being with us. She says damage has been done. Most cheat happens during primaries, corralling into the lesser of two evils. And boy, you have a point. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Laura Cooley Reed, thank you for being with us. She says the Grady County boys are great champions for election common sense. Amen to that. And, of course, Beth points out that there is no new legislation needed. We have everything that we need already on the books. Absolutely.
Right.
Juanita.
100%.
Yes, 100%. Beth, if you guys aren't in the Truth Seekers of Cherokee anyway, I don't know what you're doing. You need to be in that group. Juanita Luke Carnline, good to have you with us. She says decentralize, and I think that's a great point. Our whole entire worlds right now are being centralized and put into a cloud, right? Decentralizing this, every county has an election board. We have the people and the means that we can handle this very simply. We have states all around us that are doing this. You pointed out Taiwan, and yet they lie to us and say, well, it can't be done. It takes too much time. This is ridiculous. We all know this, and I agree. Decentralize. Oh, yeah. David said, where we could lead by example and show how great paper ballots actually work, which would have been the Georgia GOP convention. Wow. So much work.
What a that was a travesty.
Yes.
That didn't occur. I mean, it would have done so much toward it, and
Yes.
it makes me really upset with what occurred there
Yes.
and how that was done. We were railroaded, is all
Yes.
there is to it, just like the logo on the
Yes.
convention show.
You're 100% right. I think I was involved in those groups. We were the most transparent you could possibly be, sending out information to everybody. We were lied to completely when they told us that they had their own means for paper ballots. I was on that Sergeant at Arms committee. They never intended on using paper ballots whatsoever. The people that said that were liars. And they were always going to use these stupid devices, and we were absolutely railroaded.
Failed for me twice. The electronic clicker, and even the tests were so bogus that they did. They asked how many people had iPhones and how many people had Android, but they didn't have any numbers to base it on. So how did they know the numbers were correct?
Yeah.
It was a totally bogus example. I called it out. It was a sham.
Yeah.
A total sham.
Yep. Well, they had my number. They put me in a spot where I was at a back door for most of the convention. Then finally they let me come out after all the speakers and right before the voting started. I guess they already knew that, or they knew I thought I was some kind of enemy. And by the time I even knew what was going on, I'm handing out clickers to all these people. And I nearly I'm not going to lie, I almost started crying. I was so mad and just upset that we just been railroaded. And it was, it just sucked. It sucked. And it's very poor that our state GOP, I think it's funny. I'll say this statement out by Josh McCoon. I guess it was today or yesterday about obviously Brad Raffensperger, who's running for governor, is saying that he's not going to allow our state election board to come into the room as the votes are coming in, right? He's going to block them from doing that, which to me, I would say I would send down a bunch of state troopers and I would just go ahead and arrest Brad Raffensperger for even saying that he's going to block these people. But at the same time, we have a statement come out by our Georgia GOP, Josh McCoon, when Josh McCoon had the power vested by the people of that convention to not even recognize Brad Raffensperger to run on the Republican ticket. And so the statement is just it has very little weight now that we're this close to everything, and you're going to come out now and, denounce him for his actions. I'm like, this is a clown show, guys. It's a clown show. So, but Christina points out,
And
yes.
know,
Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say that there's just a new announcement from the Georgia GOP about a new leader for the election integrity part of the Georgia GOP, and I'm not there.
Dang.
In that position for the last 3 years.
Crap.
Searcy, he's knowledgeable, he's tactful,
Sam, if you can hear me, we're just losing you left and right, and I don't know what happened. The signal got real weak there. Do you know, Field, what he was?
I think he's referring to the appointment of a new person for the election integrity GOP task force, and BJ Van Gundy, I guess is his name.
Okay.
And he's been in Georgia politics, Republican politics for years, but he's not been involved in anything that I've ever seen over the last 5 years in being involved, going to the SEB, going to the Blue Ribbon committees. All the things that we've been involved in, I've never seen him there.
Right.
So, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, I got you there. Okay. Well, I
think
mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah, and that's probably is. And Sam, hopefully you can come back in if you can hear us. I think he's just going through a bad spot right now, but we'll continue on. There we go. We're getting Sam back. Can you hear us, Sam? Okay, we'll wait. We'll go on down, and Alex Halderman was the person who hacked the system with a pin. So thank you for that, Christina. And Juanita Carnline says, never give up. And I don't think we ever are. Betsy Jorgensen, wonderful, wonderful person. God was there at the state convention 2025. He blew the doors off. And you know what? She's 100% right. Those doors blew off. And if you ever needed a sign, boy, was that it. Victoria.
Well, I don't know if you know the backstory on that, but we were loading up our trailer, Paper Please wagon, and we had to get in the trailer because the storm was coming. We didn't know it was a tornado.
Yeah.
The wind was blowing. The tree snapped right next to the trailer.
Wow.
And the wind was just blowing the rain we were all inside, and the thing was just like rocking.
Wow.
But we were safe inside that trailer. We thought it was going to flip over, but we were okay.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I was still in the building, and we were all like finishing everything up, and then all of a sudden, boom, and everybody's had to be rushed back into the back part of the room, and then we go out the front, and the doors are just blown off, and it's like, holy moly. That was just amazing. So, crazy. Angel Rosario, good to have you with us tonight. Go ahead, Sam.
I just said, we had over 100 people that were trained to go in and have this paper ballot election. And that would have been hand counted, and we had it figured where it was going to happen in about 2 hours from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And I was going to say that we had James Abley in that wagon with us, and he donated a lot to try to get that put together in way of money to buy clear ballot boxes and all that kind of stuff. There's so many people that's added so much to this.
Yeah, I'll tell you, James Abley, one of the very integral part of because I'd had a run-in with James Abley earlier then, but they allowed me to come in the group, and I know some people it's hard to trust people or whatnot, but the man, extended an olive branch, said, come in here, and we joined them Zoom meetings, and it was like, no, we're gonna put this out. We want everybody to have buy-in, and again, just the way that we were treated, the total disrespect and lack of even wanting to be a part of that was just absolutely abhorrent. I mean, it's such a bad stain on the GOP. It's a lot of people have a very bad taste in their mouth, Okay, Victoria Cruz, good to see you. Betsy, she's got an update just in. Tulsi Gabbard's office was just raided by CIA. That's right. I forgot about that. They took all the documents related to the JFK investigation and MK Ultra. CIA calls war on the DNI. So yeah, that happened a little bit earlier. That was very disturbing. Thank you for that update.
Wow.
Yeah, they went in apparently and took all the JFK files and all the MK Ultra files. So that's who the heck knows what's going on, fellas. I don't know. Carol Streeter, good to have you with us tonight. Richard Schroeder, my hero. He said, machines gotta go. Betsy says, yes, we knew there were members on the SAA team in on it, including the SAA team chair, Todd Tibbetts. Consiglio knew, many other SAAs knew. Yeah, it was, oh boy. Yeah. Oh, that was crazy. City Mouse says, thank you. Brandon James, good to have you with us. The GOP is getting what's coming to them. Hypocritical. Yeah, well, they are. And even Betsy says, even MTG knew that the state convention was rigged that day. It was in the rules. I was assigned to her that Saturday. That's right. All right. So thank you guys all for the comments and the questions and everything. And so I want to leave my guests with the last words. And we're going to start with you, Sam, and then we'll turn it over to you. But before we do this, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you guys, how much I appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and to all of the people that are with Voter Georgia, Georgians For Truth, and we're going to multiply these numbers, and we are not going to stop. But I'm going to give you guys the last word. Sam, we'll start with you.
Well, it got put on my spirit to be here. It's not been taken off. I'm going to continue until he tells me not to. I want to say to everybody out there that's listening, you still know people that need to be contacted And it's through you that this gets bigger and more healthy and stronger. So reach out to 5 people next week. See them at the grocery store. I don't know, wherever you see them, but talk to them. Tell them about who we are and how to get in touch with us. And that's georgiansfortruth.org. Roy, I can't tell you how much, we appreciate you and what you've done for this movement. There's so many more that we can't just name them all, but thank you so much for what you do. And please, people, keep pushing. It ain't over till it's over.
That's right.
And like my mom said, never give up. I always see that, stork with that frog with his hands around that stork's throat. It ain't over till it's over. And let me tell you, one person with God's favor and direction can cure the whole deal.
Amen. Amen. All right, Field, we're going to end it with you, brother.
Well, I want to thank you, Roy, for having us on tonight and for all you've done to promote what we've done, to be at the Capitol so many times and support us, video and share all that. I want to thank all our members and the other groups out there fighting in their own way. Everybody's got a role to play. We can't be in every lane. We're trying to do just machines and the voter roll and the paper ballots. Others are working on the voter rolls and getting that straight. But we all got to work to get transparency in our elections and get election laws enforced properly. And so it's going to take all of us together, and we need to work together. We need to highlight each other's strengths, and let's just all move forward together and let's get this done. And like Sam says, you can follow us on georgiansfortruth.org. You can follow us on X at Georgians4 Truth. We do most of our stuff there. We're on Rumble, the Grady County Boys. And a lot of the videos we talked about are all on those channels. And if you go to highlights on X, you can see some of those highlighted videos. Go on Rumble and see the whole series we've done, the Grady County Boys. And we make skits and stuff, but we've got also the Kemp videos, the Raffensperger videos, some of the comments of the SEB. And so we just, follow us, share our information, and get involved. And love you all, and we appreciate you all.
Yes, folks and guys. Again, thank you guys for coming on the show. It's been my honor to host you tonight, folks. If you're thinking about donating to Small Town Underground, I want you to go to georgiansfortruth.org. I want you to go check it out. I want you to donate to them tonight. I want you to sign up. I want you to get involved and become part of the community, the family of people, some of the best I've ever seen. And I want you to start getting some skin in the game. We've got a special session now. We've got QR codes that will be illegal July the 1st. We've got Dominion voting systems that need to go away. We need paper ballots, hand marked, hand counted, count at the precinct level. So you'll find all the information that you need to find at georgiansfortruth.org. And again, guys, thanks for being with me tonight, okay?
Thanks, Roy.
Paper, please.
Yes, paper please.
No, paper now.
Yeah, paper now. Amen to that. All right, guys, this is Small Town Underground. We'll see you next time. Friday night, BKP live in studio. He's bringing the matches, and I guess we're going to burn it down. So be with me Friday evening, start at 7. Guys, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.
The legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.